Okay, it's Tom and Patrick back in the house. We've got we're not sure why, but we've got some issues with the recording the audio. So we're going to see how far we can get. Patrick, I'm going to go over to you, but you just said basically we think it's to do with connecting the dots, and what I'm going to try and do is ask Patrick to see if what I said earlier that kind of made sense. It is something which is going to connect for him the distance between thinking and acting, and kind of make that as short as possible. So Patrick, we'll go with you talking, and if we can't get the talking, then you can just type in the chat window. So fire away.
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
Got you.
Did that come through at all?
It came through perfectly.
Okay, good. Yeah, good, excellent. I was talking about the idea of the connecting the dots. If you know, like, obviously, the more aware you are that things are happening for you, the more aware you become. It's, you know, like a muscle, obviously, and how that would play into keeping the shortest line between thinking. Like, if you start to notice, oh, I did something good, and, you know, like, honestly did something good just because you were doing it, not for any ulterior motive, and like something good happens to you, you start going, I get this increase in life thing. If you feel like that's how that plays into making the line shorter.
Yeah, I think that will really work. You know, ultimately it's all about awareness, because if you've got the awareness, then you don't even need your goals to be achieved, because you only want your goals so that you can get the feelings that those goals would bring you, like the car or the lifestyle or whatever it is. But really you can short circuit the goals by going straight to the feelings once your awareness is high enough. So if you actually have the ability to elevate your awareness through acting and through noticing, oh, okay, I'm doing this and I'm seeing that people are tending in general to ask me more questions and to defer to me and to come to me with more serious and more interesting problems and challenges, and okay, I'm noticing that, right, I'm going to keep carrying on doing just what I'm doing today to the best of my ability, more than filling my current place. And I think that will be that ability to actually notice will be the thing that really connects stuff most quickly. I mean, I guess it's, again, the script, isn't it? You know, being able to separate yourself from the script, because the only thing that would hold you back from acting today would be the script, which will tell you, well, it's not going to make much difference what you do in this job with this person on this project. It's not really going to influence your goals in any way. But if you were choosing, you would choose that what I'm saying and that Wattles is saying, and that what the general monistic point of view was, that it is all connected. And if you're doing it for the right reasons to bring greater life for all, and if your vision for yourself results in you becoming the sort of awesome person who is great, who does great stuff, and who as a result surrounds himself with great things and great other people, then obviously you will find that kind of the actions that you do today are hugely important. So the connecting the dots thing, I think, yeah, I think that's big. I think if you can, I don't want you not to have the goals, and I don't want you to not have the stuff because you say, well, I don't really need to have the Porsche 911 Turbo. I don't really need to have the great lifestyle because I can get the feelings anyway. No, I want you to have those things, but I want you to have the feelings now, the feelings first, the feelings right now, because what will happen is, if you're not careful, is the script will say, yeah, you're doing stuff today in the hope that you will achieve your goals in the future. When you achieve your goals in the future, you will then feel good and feel awesome and you'll feel great, and then this stuff will have worked. But actually, it works much better if you can actually put feeling awesome into the sausage machine right now. And that's where the gratitude and the faith comes in. If you've got total faith that this will work, it's easy to be grateful for it. If you're really grateful for everything, it's then easy for you to build the faith that this works, because feeling really grateful is kind of an amazing feeling anyway. So you've almost, again, got to the feeling of awesomeness. So it is a systems level approach, and I think that the single biggest thing you can do always is notice the script and notice your own awareness, and then if you can connect the dots between everything that is happening to you as a result of everything that you are doing, I think you'll be well on your way to making it easy for you to go from having it all sorted at the metaphysical thought level and then having it all sorted at the practical level, of the action level. Let's go back to Patrick and see, does that sort of make sense for you?
It makes perfect sense. I mean, I guess the more that we talk about it and the more that I'm thinking about it, and like the gratitude is such a big deal, because if you're just grateful for things that you take for granted, you start getting into that happy space. Like the steps are so simple, not easy, but simple in that you're supposed to think about it, create the image, you have faith that it's going to happen, and then you just start, having an increase in whatever it is you're doing wherever you are now, because there is only now, there's nothing else. And have faith that it's going to work, and be grateful for things as they work out. Connect the dots and be aware, so that connecting the dots sounds like it's really important for giving you the opportunity to be grateful for things.
Correct. That's the thing. I mean, so the more you notice stuff, the more you realize that it's working, the more you can create the positive feedback cycle of being grateful. And of course, every time you act, you have the chance of increasing your faith as a result, because you're going through the cycle. Hey, I'm thinking about something. I'm thinking about being awesome. I'm finding I'm doing stuff and it's kind of working, and I'm grateful for the fact that it's working. And the whole thing will reinforce my faith and lead me to then take action with even more certainty. When we say acting in the certain way, it's not a certain way. Certain isn't used in particular. In this context, certain is used in, the way we now use certainty, as in as a 100% faith-based way, rather than acting in a particular way. And I think that's quite important. Acting in a way that you are certain that this will work. You're not so special. The collection of atoms and molecules and energy and experiences and memories that is you is not so special, Patrick, that you can that you're not subject to the principles of physics. So as you know that. So therefore, if you do these things, it will work for you in the same way as if two masses are relatively close to each other, they will attract each other with a force that's directly proportional to the inverse of their square, of the distances between them, and directly proportional to the masses multiplied together. They can't. There is nothing special about a particular type of mass that can enable it to avoid gravity. There's nothing special about you that will enable you to do things in the certain way and not actually get results, which is a very, at the same time, very refreshing thing, but it's also kind of, some people will read that and say, oh, you mean, so I'm not really special? So, well, no, you're not special, but you're as great as the greatest, but no better than anybody else. So you're only not special in the way that no one is special, and if no one is special, then everyone's special. Yeah.
So you just said something that kind of gave me a moment of awareness. Talk about the idea of gravity and the inverse and all that. I'm sure you're pretty aware of some different theories out there that it's actually more related to electromagnetism than gravity on its own.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
If that theory would hold true, and you do have more of these thoughts, and you create a more real thought of whatever it is that you're trying to bring into your life, and if every cell, considering the fact that they think that for the most part each nucleus is infinite in its capacity to retain information, if every cell continues growing more and more of a picture, then through their communication and each one of them knowing it, the electromagnetism would build up, thereby attracting it to you more.
Yeah, totally, and that really is. I mean, there's so many different ways you can approach it that actually make sense and support that little the voice, the intuition in your head, which says, "I know that it probably is true because it works. I just can't see how." And the script is saying, "Well, I can't see. If you can't see how, then it can't work." So you're completely right, and I do think that. I think the total alignment of all the cells. When you think about it, inside every cell is the ability to make a Patrick. Inside every single bloody cell you've got.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal when you think it knows what to do. You could take that DNA, it would completely, you could be anywhere in the world, Patrick. You could have been born anywhere in the world. You could have fed breast milk from anywhere in the world. You could have eaten baby kind of food from anywhere in the world. You would have still come out like you.
Yeah.
That's a great example of that same thing. At a DNA type level, the image, the vision for what it was going to create was so clear that you could give it any old shit, more or less, and it would still produce you. Okay, as long as you're above the certain sort of malnourishment level, whatever that is, it would still produce you. That's phenomenal. So provided the image that you've got for what you want is the DNA level of definiteness, you can be in any environment and be doing anything on a daily basis, and you will still get there.
Yep. Yeah, that's true. That's an excellent way to look at it.
Well, you know, these things just come, they just get downloaded to me while I'm speaking. And this is a great example, is that I only know what I'm going to say as it's coming out. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm channeling or anything like that. Yeah, whatever, people get a bit funny about that. No, I believe that in the particular moment, most of the time, if I'm doing things for the right reasons, most of the time something will happen which will guide me to explain things in a way. So what happens is it's me taking action, me doing this kind of stuff, me doing the Reasonable Wealth Project, me doing all these things. I'm finding myself given not only analogies that help explain things, but there's so many great things happening at the moment. I'm finding it difficult to keep up. I'd need 100 lifetimes to do all the ideas that I've already had. And each day I'm getting, you know, better and better ideas. So I think that once you get into that, as you said, once you get into the habit of always thinking and doing that,
once you start working from that spot of intelligence, it really is.
Damn it! That just broke up. Say that again, because it sounded great.
I was just saying that's I don't know what I said exactly. I was more or less I was just saying when you start pulling from infinite intelligence, that the pool of ideas become infinite.
Yeah, exactly. And infinity is pretty big. Like Gabriel, my 6-year-old, was asking me the other day. He loves infinity. He thinks it's fascinating, because, you know, how many zeros has infinity got? And it's like, you know, I bet it has a lot of zeros. It's going to, yeah, well, you could write zeros, and then if you carried on going forever, that would be infinity. And he's going, bloody hell. You know, and when you think about it, okay, infinity is obviously incredible, but even when you start to think about, for a second, just the speed at which we're moving around the sun, you know, like 50,000, 60,000 miles an hour, and then the speed that the solar system itself is moving around the center of the galaxy, something like 500,000 miles an hour, and then there's no real absolute speed, because of course our galaxy moving, there's no absolute frame of reference, so this, when you get to like the speed of galaxies, it's all relative to what. But the point is, when you start thinking about the scale, not just of time, but of speed and space, and the scale of atoms, and therefore the electrons and all the associated things, and then with all these things, the interaction between all of them, because if gravity works the way we think it works in all directions all of the time, affecting all things. It might be pretty weak, but every time gravity is like, why I like Buckminster Fuller talking about metaphysical gravity is love. I kind of like gravity is also the net result of what you're saying here about this kind of mastermind effect of the cells, because every single atom attracts every other atom, and the effect multiplies as you get more and more atoms into the picture. So what if and vision and ideas and all those things operates in the same way? So the more people that are focused on a common goal, and the more awareness that they all have that everyone's focusing on the same thing, the more easily that goal happens, which is what happens with things like Arab Spring and you know, the suffragette movement, and then the liberation, I guess, of the slaves in the estates and all that sort of stuff. Once things get that groundswell, that enough people all focusing on a common goal, crazy fast things happen. I mean, I grew up in Europe thinking that it was inconceivable that the Berlin Wall would come down. Right. You know, I went to university in 1986, and not only it wasn't on the radar, it was one of those things that you just grew up with. You just thought it was going to be always like that. By the time I left university, it was down. You know, it was all over. You know, it's astonishing. You know, the speed at which things happen once people have enough of a awareness that there are other people that can contribute and believe in it as well. See, what happens is the script isolates us. So it says that, well, you know, this might work for you, Patrick, but you're never going to get enough people in the world to believe this kind of thinking for it to be able to, like, make the world as great as it really could be. just use this to get what you want out of life and that sort of stuff, and it'll kind of seduce you into thinking that you have to be a bit special and you're one of the blessed few that can access this thinking because your awareness is high enough. And it'll kind of, even, you know, the script will isolate you for being more intelligent than other people, for being less intelligent, for being more capable, for being less capable. You know, it'll isolate you for on any variable along any scale. It'll isolate you. But what if it's fascinating. But what if, you know, really we are at this dawn, this opportunity? You know, what if in the next, you know, 3 to 5 years, enough people can apply these principles to their lives and get control over their lives and are doing things, you know, with greater life for all as the fundamental, as Wattle says, you know, science of getting rich, you know, get whatever you want as long as you're bringing more life to all. And so if you know, only a few thousand people really started believing this and acting this and doing this, you know, literally, who knows where we could be in, you know, even 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, excellent point.
Yeah, exciting, isn't it? Okay, well, listen, it sounds like you know, as always, you know exactly what to do, and I'm kind of just here as a useful sounding board for your own thoughts, really.
Oh, you're here for more than that, but I'm humble for now.
Well, I think that's a good thing, though. I think it's always much better if you can come to the realization yourself when you're with somebody else, rather than, you know, you to just listen to what they say. Because if I can say a bunch of stuff that might make sense, but it's only when you think about what I say and make it work according to your thoughts, as Wattle says in The Science of Being Great, is that read less and think more. It's when you think originally and you put it together that makes sense with your paradigm and your worldview and your local situation that it really sticks, that it really works. So, you know, in lots of ways, I see myself like Buckminster Fuller. He just said he was trim tab, which is the trim tab. I don't know whether you know about. Is the bit on the rudder of an enormous ship, which just moves. First of all, it's a tiny piece of I guess metal that just moves first of all, and it creates a pressure differential between the one side of the rudder and the other, and as a result, the whole rudder will then move. And then, as a result of the whole rudder moving, the whole ship, you know, hundreds of thousands of tons of metal will move as a result of one tiny thing, this trim tab. And that's a bit obscure to have to explain to people all the time. He used that analogy because he was a Navy dude, but he on his epitaph was "Call me trim tab." He was just thinking, well, if I can just do a tiny little bit, and kind of that's what I see myself as, if I can just do a tiny little bit to just spark a little bit of a different kind of way of seeing the world, just a little bit. The real work's going to be done in your head by you and in your life by you, and all the people that benefit from having seen and been around you for the duration of the changes that you're applying to your life. That's going to be where the real work takes place. And if I can just every so often just come up with more than anything a reminder type system to keep people on track, hence, you know, the 13x4 and all the stuff that I do, then I think I'm doing my part, really. But the work is done by you.
So you're going to start calling yourself Trim Tab Tom?
You know what? I don't think so. I don't think it's catchy. Well, not catchy enough. Anything that you have to explain to people is probably not a good tagline.
Yeah, it's a good point.
You know what I mean?
It's a good conversation starter, one of the two.
Yeah, very good. Absolutely. All right, buddy. Well, I'm going to let you go now.
Great.
I'm sorry we had a few issues, but we got the nuts and bolts of it. And thanks very much.
I'm not sorry we had a few issues, because I'm grateful that we can even do this. We wouldn't have been able to 20 years ago.
Isn't that fantastic? You know, when you think that even the president of America, the wealthiest country in the world, say 25, 30 years ago, couldn't do this.
Yeah, exactly.
It's phenomenal. And that's the pace at which we're accelerating and we're completing the world. And like there is, that's why I love Peter Diamandis and all his abundant stuff. You know, when you actually look for the science behind it, I wouldn't rather be in any other time in man's history.
I say that every day of my life.
Yeah. Good.
Literally.
Fantastic. Well, keep doing what you're doing, buddy. And just hit me up in a few weeks or whenever, and we'll have another chat.
Right on. Thank you, Tom.
All right.
You have a great Saturday night.
Yeah, absolutely. Take care. Enjoy the rest of the day. Cheers, buddy.
Later.
Bye.